the Americans wake up one day and the same statement they are giving us today, that they want to go to Burkina and go and save Burkina. They came to Libya. And when they went to Libya, today, if you compare Libya then to now, everybody can say their own stories. What is it that is going on in Burkina today that is really pinching France today? That is really piercing the minds of the West today? Is it just about constructing roads? Is it just giving life to the people? You told us that we should start building our own continent. And no time ago, Donald Trump, you told us that Africa is a shithole. And if a shithole is now cleaning itself, are we calling you? I mean, we are not calling you people to come and help us clean our shithole. We are asking you to stay back and let us fix our own problems.
I am not perfect. I am not a prophet. I am just a man who refuses to see his people suffer in silence. If they try to kill me for speaking the truth, let them try. But the voice of truth will not die. I do not fear death. I fear watching Africa sleep while others build empires on our backs. Let the world know this. Africa is awake. We are rising, not to beg, not to borrow, but to build. With our hands, with our minds, with our hearts. The journey is long, but the time is now. We are writing history. There is no room for cowardice. They always take examples. They will tell us, Thomas Sankara tried to do it like this, but where is he? He is dead. The Haitian president, he tried to do it like this. Where is he? He is dead. Gaddafi tried like this. Where is he? He is dead. These are the veiled statements made to us to instill fear. If we remain in this posture of fear, we will be cowards. And history will judge us. Our children will ask questions. Our grandchildren will ask questions.
We are tired of having idiots running our countries in Africa.
To the youth of Africa, listen to me carefully. We are standing on the edge of history, and this is the moment when you must decide, will you continue to wait for salvation from outside, or will you rise and claim your destiny? For too long, we have been told that we are too weak, too poor, too uneducated to build our own future. But I tell you today, that is a lie. They said Africa cannot manufacture its own machines, yet every year we produce millions of brilliant minds, but only to serve others. We train engineers, yet we import even the simplest tools. We have fertile lands, yet we depend on others for food. Why? Because we have been programmed to doubt ourselves. We have been taught to beg for aid, instead of building strength. We have been trapped in the illusion that without Europe, without America, we are nothing. But I see a different Africa.
It is a very interesting time to be an African right now. It is also a very exciting time to be a black person or a melanated person or an African diaspora, wherever you can be. For years, we have been told that Africans, melanated people in general, cannot do anything to better themselves. For years, we've been looked down upon. For years, we have been seen as the people who have actually been spectators of the world, while the rest of the world has been playing chess. We have been just consumers and spectators. But that narrative might be changing right now, because a true son of Africa is rising above the cowardice and waking up Africa from sleeping while the rest of the world has been actually building empires off of our backs, off of our minerals, off of our resources, and off of our labor. From Africa to the Caribbean, to the United States, to Europe, to Asia, everywhere, it's been the same story. Melanated people on the African continent have been begging for food, yet Africa has the most fertile land on this planet. Like the great words of Marcus Garvey, Africa needs to emancipate itself from mental slavery. And the time is now. If you're alive right now, it is the time, because there is a voice rising in West Africa, in a country named Burkina Faso. Captain Ibrahim Traore is challenging the status quo, and the West, the West is not happy because this true son of Africa is fighting back. They have always told us that we need to go back to our countries and do something about our own problem. They have called our countries to be shithole countries. Yet, when we are trying to clean our own countries, they are not happy and they want to meddle in our business. What is so wrong with actually taking care of our own business and trying to clean our shithole countries? Why are they always scared of Africa getting their things together? Let's listen to this speech of Ibrahim Traore, waking up Africa and the youth of Africa. This is very heartwarming. This is exciting, and this is gonna blow your mind. It's gonna inspire you if you are an African diaspora or a Black American to actually think about investing in the Black community, whether at home or on the African continent. It's gonna inspire you to actually look beyond what Western media and the status quo narrative has actually taught you to think about Africa and melanated people as a whole. I'm a presenter, Profess. If you're new, kindly consider subscribing, hit that like button. Let's take a look. I'll be back with more commentary after this.
They should come and tell us. We don't even want to go into Saddam Hussein. We want to stand with our Gaddafi here. What did Gaddafi do?
Nothing.
The Americans wake up one day and the same statement they are giving us today, that they want to go to Burkina and go and save Burkina. They came to Libya. And when they went to Libya, today, if you compare Libya then to now, everybody can say their own stories.
Yes.
We are saying this. It's enough. Ibrahim Traore is just being an obedient son of the land. He understands the call of the ancestors and is actually listening to the call of the ancestors within him that they should rise up and save their land. Today, the West should be aware of themselves. This is not just a solidarity walk. This is an awakening call of Africa entirely to remember what we have been denied of for so long, the freedom that we deserve. What is it that is going on in Burkina today that is really pinching France today, that is really piercing the minds of the West today? Is it just about constructing roads? Is it just giving life to the people? You told us that we should start building our own continent. And no time ago, Donald Trump, you told us that Africa is a shithole. And if a shithole is now cleaning itself, are we calling you? I mean, we are not calling you people to come and help us clean our shithole. We are asking you to stay back and let us fix our own problems because we've caused it by allowing you people to always keep on doing what you do to us. Enough is enough. But like Nkrumah said, that they make us feel enemies of ourselves. They tell you that person is better than the other and that person is good than the other. They are using it to clump us together, then they hit among ourselves and we fight. And when we are fighting, they sneak through to come and do what they have to do. This is the time that nobody has to sit back and allow Western media to intimidate them, to wrongfully let them understand what we've been missing for too long. Because now, all these gadgets we are seeing here is actually sending the message. And you need nobody to tell you the truth. You just have to log it in and go and see for yourself. Read for yourself and you see the truth. If you can't even read, nothing. Just log in Ibrahim Traore in the last 2 years and you see the reason why Africa is where it is and why the West is coming back. We'll continue to rise and resist this. And I made this quote and I say this, that is either they accept it is either they accept the realities of the revolution now of this generation, or else they wait for the consequence of this revolution. No retrieve, no surrender.
To the youth of Africa, listen to me carefully. We are standing on the edge of history, and this is the moment when you must decide, will you continue to wait for salvation from outside, or will you rise and claim your destiny? For too long, we have been told that we are too weak, too poor, too uneducated to build our own future. But I tell you today, that is a lie. They said Africa cannot manufacture its own machines, yet every year we produce millions of brilliant minds, but only to serve others. We train engineers, yet we import even the simplest tools. We have fertile lands, yet we depend on others for food. Why? Because we have been programmed to doubt ourselves. We have been taught to beg for aid, instead of building strength. We have been trapped in the illusion that without Europe, without America, we are nothing. But I see a different Africa, and I want you, the youth, to see it with me. I see an Africa where the sons and daughters of this continent become the inventors of tomorrow, where we build satellites that orbit the earth, and they are made by African hands, where our doctors do not flee to foreign countries, but stay to build health systems that serve our people with dignity, where we are not the customers of foreign technologies, but the creators of technologies that change the world. But my children, to get there, you must understand, no one will build this Africa for you. The liberation you want, the prosperity you desire, the respect you seek, you must build it with your own hands, and that begins with education. Not the kind of education that teaches you to pass exams and wear a suit, but the education that teaches you to solve problems, to think critically, to ask, what can I create? What can I improve? What can I build that my community needs? If your education is not making you more useful to your people, it is a prison, not freedom. And yet education alone is not enough. We must also have courage. Courage to innovate. Courage to fail and try again. Courage to stand tall and say, I will not run to Europe for a better life. I will build my better life here. Look at the world. It is built by men and women no different from you. They are not gods. They have no special blood. They succeeded because they believed they could, and because their societies invested in their talents. We must do the same. My vision is of an Africa where every youth is a soldier, not with guns, but with skills, with knowledge, with innovation. Imagine an Africa with its own search engines, its own social media platforms, its own tech giants, its own pharmaceutical industries, its own energy companies driven by solar and wind, from the Sahel to the Cape. This is possible, but it requires discipline. You cannot build the Africa of tomorrow if your mind is addicted to distraction. You spend hours scrolling, laughing at memes, watching others build, while you remain spectators in the theater of global progress. Enough. I call on you to wake up. I call on you to master skills, learn to code, learn to design, learn to farm smartly, learn renewable energy, learn manufacturing. If you do not, others will, and you will remain slaves, not by chains, but by ignorance. In the past, you came to Africa with armies and took our lands. Now you come with companies and contracts. You used to rule us with whips and guns. Now you control us with loans and deals. Let me give you examples with names, numbers, and facts. Lancor. This is a Swiss company that mines cobalt in Congo. In 2022, they made $256 billion in revenue. But they paid Congo only $500 million in taxes. That's just 0.2% of their earnings. Is that fair? Rio Tinto. This British-Australian company mines bauxite in Guinea. They take out 20 million tons every year. What does Guinea get? Pollution and sickness. Total Energies. This French oil company works in Angola, Nigeria, and Congo. In 2022, they made $36 billion in profit. But they leave behind old, dirty pipelines and poor communities. Anglo-American. This company started in South Africa but is now based in London. They take diamonds, platinum, and iron. What's left in South Africa? Millions of unemployed miners. These are just a few examples. There's more you don't see.
So, the poorest country in Africa, according to what they told us, this is Burkina Faso. This is Ibrahim Traore, who they told us is a dictator, someone who's using God to protect himself instead of the people of Burkina Faso. But look at what he is doing. In a very short period of time, in his 2 years, every day he is doing something. If this is a kind of dictatorship we want in all African countries, oh yes. Look, he didn't go and take the Chinese to come and do the construction. No, he took the Burkina Faso's people. This is how to be a patriot. What do you guys think? Let me know. Make sure you like the video, you share, and you tell me what do you think.
Alright guys, there you have it. Actually, if you are a true Pan-African, this actually speech will get you emotional, because you thinking about what Ibrahim Traore is actually doing for his people in Burkina Faso and the whole continent as a whole is something revolutionary. It's something great, something that deserves praise, and something that deserves to be known and recognized, not by the rest of the world, no, especially by people of African descent. Because since I was young, I used to watch television, observe what the rest of the world has been doing. I was preached to by the same Western media that actually has taught you everything about Africa and Africans and black folks, melanated people as a whole. And I used to ask myself, why is it that those people on the other side of the continent seem to actually have everything together? They seem to be advanced with technology and machinery and great living standards. And why are us people of African descent on the African continent, in the Caribbean islands, in Black America, United States, why do we seem to always fall behind? I used to ask myself a lot of questions, and as a child, we would think, man, what happened? Are we cursed? Or what did we do? What is actually not going right? And most of the time, as the media has taught us to point fingers at our own leaders for corruption. But when you grow up and you realize that, wait a minute, corruption is a global issue. It's not just an African issue, it's actually a global issue. There is corruption in every country on this planet. It doesn't matter whether the country is in Africa or in Europe or in the Americas or in Asia or even Australia. There is corruption everywhere. But what is so different that makes Africa to actually not work? Africa to actually always fall behind, while these other countries, regardless of the kind of corruption they might have, they always seem to progress. Well, as a curious mind, of course, I read a lot, I watch a lot of documentaries, I learned a lot from the history of black people and the history of Africa as a whole. You learn that Africa, actually, there was a time that Africa had it together. There was a time that Africa was living peacefully, was evolving in its own history and building its own culture. There was a time that Africa had it together until someone came from the land up north that I don't want to mention and actually messed up everything for Africans and melanated people and black folks as a whole. There is someone who came and actually divided us to conquer. Now, you ask yourself, why wasn't black folks actually able to fight back if they had it together? Well, cultures and communities evolve out of need and out of survival instincts. Africa had everything. Africa had fertile lands. Africa had fruits and vegetables. Africa had flora and fauna. Africa had animals for the hunting. African communities never evolved to fight each other for survival. They actually evolved to work together for survival. They evolved to socialize and for spiritual purposes because their instinct wasn't to fight a brother just to get food. But the people up north, where food was scarce, the land wasn't as fertile, evolved to fight each other. They evolved a community of competing and taking from each other. African societies evolved in sharing knowledge. Well, they like to tell you that melanated people on the continent do not have and have never had the technology and the knowledge to actually do anything for themselves until you actually learn history and find out that the Roman Empire, their scholars, used to come down to the African continent in Alexandria, right in Egypt, to actually learn about astrology, to learn about mathematics, to learn about science. Africans were studying astrology about space and the stars before even the Caucasian man knew what the stars were. Africans knew mathematics before even they actually discovered mathematics. Africans were using and carrying out surgical procedures before they actually discovered what biology was. These people came down to Alexandria in Egypt, and for facts, the people then in Egypt never looked like the current people right now in Egypt, because the Arab invasion happened, of course. And you have to understand that the original Egyptians were melanated people. Now the problem is, after these people actually learned from the African society, they went ahead and took every material in history back to their lands up north, burned the universities right here in our continent, and tried to hide history. They took our artifacts, our history, which some of them actually are still portrayed in museums in Paris and London, and then they burnt everything else. They took our identity, and that is the plague that has been actually affecting melanated people for years. We lost our identity. And when you lose an identity as a person, you lose yourself. You can be controlled by whoever actually wants to control you. And this is exactly the problem that melanated people have. They came to us, gave us a language that I'm using right now, a language that was not ours. They came to us, gave us a religion that was not ours, told us every religion practiced in Africa was demonic, yet theirs was the best. They came and gave us languages, taking our languages to be poor and uneducational. This is exactly why you'd find an African right now that thinks an person who cannot actually speak English, good sounding English with a British accent or an American accent, is less intelligent. Can you believe that? That, my friend, is mental slavery. That's why, by the words of Marcus Garvey, we need to emancipate ourselves from mental slavery, because we've been begging for years, begging for food, yet our lands are the most fertile. We've been taught to actually depend on aid. We've been taught to actually depend on Europe. We've been taught to actually depend on the Caucasian man. Yet we are as able as they are. We have the same capabilities, but we don't have the same identity. We don't have the same self-confidence with them. And this is exactly what Ibrahim Traore is actually trying to do right here in Africa, in Burkina Faso. And they are going to tell you that African leaders have not been doing the best to actually help out the continent. But the truth is, whenever an African leader actually rises to do what's right and defy them, they always unalive him and make sure that he doesn't become an example for others to actually wake up. But there is a movement that is going on right now, and it's exciting. Africans and black people on the continent are waking up. I'm your presenter, Profess. If you're new, kindly consider subscribing. Hit that like button. See you on the next episode. Don't forget to leave me your comments of what you think about today's episode. All right, peace.